Hey everybody, welcome to Nutri-iQ Radio, where we talk about all things food, fitness and feeling good. I'm your host Shaun here, and this week we're talking about the difference between weight loss and health. Because while one often comes with the other, that's not automatically or necessarily always the case. But before we get into all of that, it's time for this week's news. If you tuned into last week's podcast, or you're a member of our weekly newsletter where we round up some of the best stuff from the week to help you along your health and fitness journey, you'll know that the Nutri-iQ mobile app is now live in the Google Play Store. That means if you're on an Android smartphone, you can now download and install the Nutri-iQ app to help you manage your meals, hit your daily calorie targets with ease, learn how to be flexible in your diet with meal targets and the calorie bank, track your progress pictures and measurements right in the app, and more. Head over to the Google Play Store and search for Nutri-iQ and install it today if you haven't already. And if you're on an iPhone, don't worry, the app will be in the Apple App Store very soon. There are just a few more hoops to jump through with Apple. If you want to join our weekly newsletter, by the way, to get our weekly roundup of the best stuff from the week, you can do that by going to nutri-iq.net/newsletter or click the link in the show notes. In other news, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, so please do stay safe, keep others safe, wash your hands, wear a mask when you can, and just be nice to each other about it all. It's a scary time, and we're all just doing the best we can. So, on with the show? Let's do it. Losing weight and getting healthy are often put together in the same sentence, because odds are, if we want to lose weight, we also want to improve our health in some way as well. That might look like physical fitness, coming off medications, or a host of other things. But it's important to know the difference between weight loss and health, because knowing the difference can make both of them easier to achieve. Before we get into the differences and similarities, I just want to make a quick point that might sound a little morbid, but it's actually really empowering if you're listening to it in the right way. No matter what you learn from this podcast or what you go out and apply to your life, we can't guarantee health or that you'll live forever. We can't combat random chance. For example, a stroke or an aneurysm or getting hit by a bus. There are some things we just can't control, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do everything we can to make the best of what we can control. We can reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, heart disease, depression, and so many other things through simple lifestyle changes. And that includes changes to our diet, our activity levels, the type of activity we do, and how we manage our stress and our mental well-being. All of these things are things that we can control, and by taking control, we reduce the risk of what are now often referred to as lifestyle-related illnesses. So take control, use the power you have within you to give yourself the best chance of a long, healthy, and happy life. So what does weight loss have to do with all of that? Well, like I just said, we often put weight loss and health in the same boat, and for good reason. If we're overweight and we bring our weight down to a healthier range, we reduce the risk of those lifestyle-related illnesses like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. The clue is in the name, a healthier range. And this is where knowing the difference and understanding the relationship between health and weight loss becomes important. We don't become healthier because we lose weight. We become healthier by making positive changes to our lifestyle and daily habits. And it just so happens that those changes tend to result in weight loss too. Think about it. If your doctor told you you needed to make some changes to your lifestyle to make it healthier because you were on the brink of a heart attack, what would you do? You'd probably cut back on junk food, otherwise known as foods high in fat, sugar and salt. Foods that tend to be more calorie dense, which basically means packed full of calories and easier to eat. You'd eat more fresh, wholesome foods, foods that tend to be more nutrient dense. You'd cut out some sugary drinks, energy drinks, maybe some alcohol, and drink more water. You'd start doing more exercise and try to increase your daily steps. You might start meditating, practicing mindfulness, or find some other way to manage stress better. You'd probably try to improve your sleep pattern and get into a better daily routine. And guess what? That's pretty much all the same stuff you'd do if you wanted to lose weight. You'd switch from calorie-dense foods to more nutrient-dense foods to help reduce your calorie intake. You'd increase your exercise and daily steps to increase your calorie output. You'd start practicing mindfulness, meditation, and managing stress because it helps you stay focused on adopting those new habits. And you'd improve your sleep pattern because we all know the munchies creep in when we start feeling run down. Weight loss doesn't cause better health. It just happens at the same time because they both happen as a result of the same actions. And that's the key difference. That being said, it is possible to lose weight in healthier ways than others. You might have heard of the "if it fits your macros" trend of the early 2010s. Is that what that decade is called, by the way? We went right through it and I still don't know. Is it the tens? The teens? If you know the answer to that, please drop me an email to let me know to Shaun at Nutri-iQ.net because I feel like I should know by now. But anyway, if it fits your macros was a trend that, like many trends, people took too far in the wrong direction. If it fits your macros was, for the most part, an approach used by bodybuilders. People looking to consume a large number of calories that basically said, look, if you're getting 2,000 to 2,500 or so calories from nutritious foods, you can afford to have your more junky kinds of food to make up your extra 1,000 calories or whatever each day. But as I said, as that idea filtered into the mainstream, the message changed to, you can eat whatever you want as long as you're hitting your calorie target and macro split. Quick side note, we all felt like having the right macro split was really important back then. Update? It's not. Just hit your calorie goal and get a good amount of protein. The ratio of fats and carbs doesn't really matter all that much. So, as a result of that new message, the idea that living on McDonald's and Pop-Tarts was a good idea, and that started doing the rounds. However, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that that's not great for your health. It's great that you're hitting your calorie target. That means you'll lose weight or gain it, whatever the goal is, but you won't feel great. You'll be getting calories, but you'll be lacking nutrients. You'll be missing out on vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients from your diet. That's the stuff that makes you feel good from the inside out. The stuff that makes your skin, hair, teeth, and everything else glow. And that's the big distinction between weight loss and health. You can lose weight, but it might not be as healthy as you want. Because remember, weight loss doesn't cause health. It just tends to happen at the same time. A simple way to think of it is this. Calories influence your weight. Nutrients influence your health. Obviously, there's a little bit of overlap there, but looking at it in this way can connect those dots of what counts as healthy weight loss and what doesn't. That brings us on to the final point I wanted to make on this. Another trend that's appeared in the past few years is the HAES trend. HAES, health at every size. As with if it fits your macros, there are various messages coming from the trend depending on how extreme with it the individual is. Generally speaking, HAES proposes that it's possible to be, as the name suggests, healthy at any size. My take on it is this. No, it isn't. Like we said right at the start, if you're significantly overweight, you are more at risk of things like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension. If you're at the level of obesity, those risks are even higher. People are often asked to lose weight before surgeries, not because of any kind of fat-phobic culture, but because of the risk of complication being higher. I feel like adding just one more letter to the start of the acronym would make things more accurate. VAES. VHAES. Varying health at every size. Because like we mentioned before, you can lose weight and do it in an unhealthy way if you don't prioritize nutrients in your diet. That means two people could be at the exact same height and weight, but their health on the inside will be vastly different. So the same could apply at higher weights too. You could have two people at the same height and weight, but in the overweight category who both showed very different health markers. But the higher both their weights went, the worse those health markers would get for both of them. We know this to be true, and this is why we recommend managing your weight to bring it down to a healthier level, because we want you to live as long and with as good a quality of life as possible. Nobody's saying you have to change your body because it's not right or anything stupid like that. How you feel about your body is nobody's business but your own. And at the end of the day, what you choose to do with it is nobody's business but your own. But it is your choice. you can take control to influence the outcome. And while doing that is simple, we mentioned earlier in the podcast the simple actions it requires, undertaking those actions isn't always easy. But that's why having a place to ask questions when you're feeling stuck and get answers from people who want to help is super important. For example, our private Facebook group. It's called All Things Nutrition, Weight Loss, Diet and Exercise Tips. All you need to do is request to join and have a safe place to learn more about diet and exercise. Get advice on how to make those changes to your individual lifestyle and become part of a community of other people all working to improve themselves, their health and their lives just like you. Just head over to Facebook, search All Things Nutrition and you'll find it. Or click the link in the show notes. Now, we want to hear your thoughts on weight loss and health. Have you always found they go hand in hand? Or have you fallen into the trap of focusing too much on one to the detriment of the other? If you're listening as a podcast, send an email to Shaun at Nutri-iQ.net and use the subject line podcast to let us know your thoughts. That's Shaun at Nutri-iQ.net. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, let us know down below. And that is everything from me for this week. Next week, we've got another diet breakdown for you where this time around, we'll be breaking down Weight Watchers. How it really works, how it gets results, and how, like every other diet, it just boils down to calorie balance. So, thanks for tuning in to Nutri-iQ Radio this week. If you're listening as a podcast and you haven't already, if you could leave a review on iTunes, that would be fantastic. And you can even do it right in the app. Any reviews you guys leave, I would love to give you a shout out on the show. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well so you don't miss out on any future episodes. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, if you could give the video a like, that would be a massive help because it lets them know these shows are something people enjoy, so they're more likely to show them to other people. And finally, if you want to follow us around social media, make sure you like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram at Nutri-iQ without the dash, follow us on Twitter at Nutri-iQ official, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nutri-iQ TV. See you next week.